The San Antonio Spurs draft Nikola Jovic in the first round. Could they be getting the next Nikola Jovic? Or are they getting another Luka Samanic? What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports, and I had to make the Luka Samanic reference. No disrespect to Nikola Jovic. Both players, 6'10", both play forward, both foreign. And when Luka Samanic was drafted by the San Antonio Spurs, he was a teenager. Nikola Jovic turns 19 in 2 days. So also, I believe, around the same age, or maybe the exact same age. And Luka Samanic, while rooting for him, left a really bad taste in my mouth. And Spurs fans, let me know in the comments down below. Should I have concerns if we draft Nikola Jovic in the first round, which a lot of mock drafts have us taking him? Should I have the same concerns I had with Luka Samanic, or the concerns that are now there because of the player he was? Should I have those same concerns with Nikola Jovic? Let me know in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up, like, support it, fellow Spurs fan, and subscribe for more Spurs content. All right, let's get into this. Nikola Jovic, who was he, and what does he do? 6'10", 205 pounds. Yep, you got to put on some weight. Out of Serbia, turns 19 in 2 days. 2022 top 100 prospect rank has him ranked around 25th. Spurs draft 20 and 25th. They love drafting international players and developing international players, so there is a decent shot the Spurs will draft him with one of their 3 first-round picks. He's expected to go late first round, maybe second round. Based on what I'm reading, I think he's going to go in the first round. Anyway, let's talk about some pros with Nikola Jokic. Did I say Jokic? Jovic. That is going to happen a lot. If we draft him, I'm going to be saying his name wrong all the time. Pros, decent scorer off the dribble. He's an adequate shooter, excels at scoring on off-ball motion plays. He's a solid playmaker, moves fairly well off the ball on offense, decent rebounder, decent shot blocker for his size. He's 6'10". Although I do believe he had the average wingspan, reading somewhere. And he's above average athlete. And also, researching his offense, I have read he has a polished offensive game. He can drive, shoot, pass, and help handle the ball. And a lot of that might be because he started his basketball career as a guard and transitions to forward. So he's going to have some skills that he developed while playing guard that are going to certainly help him excel differently maybe than other forwards that play the 3 and 4, small forward, power forward. So he's going to have some skills that are maybe unique to his position, which is not a bad thing. There are some cons, though. He's an inconsistent shooter. Well, if the Spurs should draft him, part of that inconsistent shooting is I did read he needs to work on his shot mechanics. Maybe Chip Engelland can help him out and turn him into the shooter, unlock that maximum potential, maximum effort, Deadpool! Anyway, lacks an elite first step off the dribble, not an elite rebounder, something the San Antonio Spurs desperately need. If you watched the Spurs at all last year, a lot of times it was Jakob Poeltl or maybe one of the other bigs out there running around with 4 other guys whose average height was about 6'5". We got crushed on second chance opportunities by their team, third chance, sometimes fourth chance. And I think we lost quite a few games just because we got crushed so badly on the rebounding side of the game. Not an elite shot blocker, can tend to be unfocused defensively. And I did read he's definitely got some gaps when it comes to his defensive game. That should be a big area of concern. We were not the best defensive team last year. That could also be because we were so outsized a lot of times that teams are easily scoring buckets in the paint because if Jakob Poeltl was out defending his guy on the perimeter or just, he's not anywhere near the paint, teams were just lighting us up sometimes in the paint. And of course, for whatever reason, watching Spurs games last year, we left three-point shooters open a lot. And even when they weren't open, those buckets were getting drained on a regular basis. Teams did shoot very well three-pointers against us last year, if I remember correctly. And he needs to add strength. We mentioned he's 205, 6'10". He needs some milk. Okay? He needs some milk. If he comes to the San Antonio Spurs, I do expect him to play the forward position. I have already struggled to defend the 3 and the 4. He probably would go in the G League if we drafted him right away. He's obviously not starting. No way, that's not happening. Would he get a bench role? Depends how he played in the preseason. I would think the Spurs would trot their rookies out and give him some minutes to see what they have. And his role would probably be similar to Keita Bates-Diop, KBD. Going to get maybe minutes here and there. Or might not get. He could be in the. I don't know. The Spurs have so many draft picks, and this is the fun thing, but the frustrating thing talking about the Spurs right now is we have a lot of cap space. They could make a play at DeAndre Ayton. We don't know. And then they, right now, are drafting 4 players. 4, the guy we take at number 9, whether it's Jalen Duren, whether it's Johnny Davis, whether it's Shermy Sohan, whoever it is, I don't see going to the G League. I just can't see, for the love of Spurs Nation, us taking a top 10 player and sending him to the G League. I think that player is going to be on the roster and probably start as a bench player. If they absolutely kill it, then maybe they get to start. Who knows? But then we have these other three players. Are they all going to go to the G League? Does maybe one of them get a roster spot? Well, they're going to have roster spots, but is one going to be with the Spurs and actually get some playing time? It's exciting, but it's a little frustrating and confusing. And until things play out, I'm just like, what? Who's going to go where? What's going to happen with the roster? Is Lonnie Walker walking? Is Josh Richardson around, or are we going to try to move him? Doug McDermott, we're going to move on from him. Anyway, let's finish up and talk about Nikola Jovic's summary. Nikola Jovic is a skilled combo forward that can shoot and pass the basketball, probably because we just mentioned his previous guard skills. He can score the basketball in a variety of ways, and he's also a good passer, especially for a player's size. Again, he's starting as a guard. He'll have to be a more consistent outside shooter, and he'll need to prove his focus defensively. Focus. That word always concerns me, players not having focus. And this goes back to Lucas Samanic, when we saw him half-butt plays or just give up and just not have focus. I don't want to compare it to Lucas Samanic, but that bad taste is still in my mouth, using a 19th overall pick to essentially just waste 2 years. Got nothing out of him. Anyway, well, we got some jokes, I guess, on the channel. That's about it. He's not overwhelmingly athletic, but his intriguing skill set and offensive skill level could make him a solid candidate to go late in the first round for the 2022 draft. And I think that's where he's going to be drafted, Spurs fans. Whether you're a Spurs fan, NBA fan hanging out, I think he's going to go first round somewhere between picks 20 and 30. Will the Spurs take him at 20? Will there be a different player available that drops, maybe? I mean, crazy things have happened with the draft, and that's another thing we got to remember. And I talk about this in almost every video. We don't know how teams are evaluating respective players. We have them evaluated here. Somebody mentioned my NBA mock draft that I did yesterday, the day before, was a train wreck, and I'll admit it certainly was a train wreck in spots, but we don't know who's going to go where. Players are going to drop. Players are going to rise. It's going to be an exciting time, but it could be one of those times, much like the NFL draft we saw earlier this year, players dropped significantly. Players that were supposed to go in the first round, Malik Willis being the biggest example, I think he dropped to the third round. Well, I don't expect any of the big three to drop out of the big three. And when I say the big three, Jet Holmgren, Paul McCarroll, and Jabari Smith Jr., I think they're a lock to go in the first three spots, more than likely. Jaden Ivey and Keegan Murray round out the top five. Then after that, I don't know. It'll be fun. But Jovic, he's drafted by the Spurs. I hope he doesn't turn into Sandwich Part 2. I hope he looks more like Nikola Jovic than Lucas Samanic. And if he works, if he gets drafted, I'll root for him. I root for every player on our team, whether I like them or not. Well, there's no players I don't like, but whether I think they're not fitting the team, I still hope they prove me wrong. I really wish I was saying Derek White and the San Antonio Spurs were in the NBA Finals, but I'm not. But good luck to him against Golden State Warriors. And I think that's all I got. So I'll try to do a couple more draft videos like this in regards to players the Spurs might draft. And let me close with this. 99.9% of you have been really cool with the Kai Soda content. A very small portion of the community has been overwhelmingly negative, and I don't get why. Kai Soda has been brought up on my channel a lot the last few months, and you guys asked me to cover it. I honestly didn't realize how popular it was, and now doing videos, I'm like, holy crap, this is fun. I'm covering stuff you guys asked for, and it's doing well. Great, win-win. But people are actually accusing me of not being a Spurs fan anymore. I don't know what's happening. I just thought I'd share that with you. You're still here. I don't understand why 0.001% are just so negative. This is TSR Sports. I'm keeping it a sports channel. I'm not bringing in non-sports content. Kai Soto is a sports player. A large portion of my fan base or viewership, about 25%, is Filipino, 20 to 25%. And, the guy watched him dunking growing up. And his nickname's Kaiju, Godzilla. I mean, everything is in line there for me to follow him and enjoy him. And I've watched hours of his highlights the last few days, and I love watching him play. I honestly do. I love the way he dunks. He just doesn't throw down a two-hand dunk and just be done. He dunks, holds on to the rim, and, just a dunk like Shaq used to dunk. He's as big as Shaq, but I think he's a fun player to watch with the hook shots, the jump shots, the three-point shooting. I love the fluidity of his shots for such a big man. I don't get it. I'm rambling now. I love the Spurs. I love the New York Giants, but I wanted to add some different content on the channel. Kai Soto is a fun story to cover. I'm enjoying doing it. It is growing the channel, and it's something different. And quite frankly, the Spurs and Giants have been not good my whole time doing TSR Sports. 3 years of TSR Sports, they've been bad all 3 years, so it's nice to have, something different for right now. Anyway, that's all I got. If you stayed around this long, thank you. And to all of you that have joined the channel recently, or staying positive, saying, hey, I'm glad you're covering something else and having fun with it. I appreciate that. For the little bit of you that hate it for whatever reason, if your thought process is, well, you're covering something that's popular, then I guess every sports channel the sports fury. They shouldn't cover the NBA finals anymore. Bad Dog Sports shouldn't cover the league. We all should just cover nothing that's popular, which would mean the NBA. Nobody should cover the NBA because it's popular. I'm totally rambling. Thank you guys, and as always, go Spurs, go!